up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined by Rachel Mogan.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad, indeed, and
it's
happy
not
holidays
quite the time,
to all.
but
Not by the time it is. By the time, I mean, it's like
it's about
it'll be the
that
week
time.
before.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
and it's very much in the season. So
Right
I
on.
believe that that counts.
We need like some Christmas lights for the mics.
Oh my god!
We should have done
Too
that.
late. Damn
It's
it.
too, man. We should have thought of that sooner.
Should have.
Like a nice little couple of stockings. We could have done stockings back here.
So
And we could have
unprepared.
done lights on the mics.
So unprepared.
Man, we suck.
We do suck. You know what though? Let's fix that real quick. And voila. We have Christmas lights now. Now we're in a festive season. Audio listeners, sorry, you're missing out. But if you jump over to youtube.com/team/c/Team Chat Podcast, you can watch this video and see this beautiful light display.
It's
we
the
quickly threw up.
magic of Christmas.
The magic of Christmas.
And or non-religiously based holidays.
There you go. And because that's what we're all about celebrating at this time of year here at Team Chat Podcast, a weekly video game show where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between, like Christmas lights. New episodes come out Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central Time, and you can catch those on podcast services around the World Wide Web, as well as watch every episode on YouTube and Twitch. If you want to join us on social media, you can do that as well by finding us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as joining our Discord server. You can find links for all that in the description below. Finally, we are a completely listener-supported show, so if you're really loving what we're doing and producing for you each and every week, you can head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show, and in return, we will give you a cool perk like getting the episodes early before their general Tuesday release and access to our private channel on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery.
Indeed.
Indeed. Now, as we are here at the holiday season, as you now see in all this festive cheer that we have thrown up onto our
I can't believe you're not
here.
drinking the world's worst beverage.
Eggnog?
Oh
Damn
my
it!
God, it's so gross.
I'm
I
just
would
off.
literally rather die than
Drinking
drink
just a
eggnog.
nice chill Fireman's 4 here, but you know, man.
This is
should have
better
had
than eggnog.
I
Gross.
don't know.
You're
Eggnog's
sick.
delicious.
No,
It
thank
really
you.
is.
I'd settle for an Irish coffee or a hot toddy. I'd rather kill myself than ever drink eggnog.
Damn.
Period.
Speaking of hot alcoholic beverages, have you tried the hot buttered rum at Black Sheep Lodge?
No.
It's delicious.
Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
It's really
Let's go get some French fries and hot buttered rum after this. Oh my
Tots.
God.
No, you got to get the tots there.
Oh, come on, French fries. You're a madman.
Half and half. Split a basket.
It's amazing we've managed to keep this show running for
It's the
this long.
differences that keep it alive.
Yeah, that's true.
So because it is almost the holiday season, just as a heads up, this is our last episode for 2018. So we'll be taking a couple weeks off to regroup our hearts and minds and also spend time with our families for the holidays. So we'll be skipping the next 2 weeks. The next episode will come back.
It's like what, January 4th?
Looking at the count, going to look at the calendar right now. It's actually going to be
It would be January 8th.
January 8th
Yeah,
will
okay.
be the next. Will be the next new episode coming out. So
Right on.
Little fib there in the intro where I say each and every week. It's not each and every week. We're taking
Well,
these 2
hey,
weeks off. But
everybody
these are the
gets
only
one
2 weeks we
break.
take off.
We get
in the
one
whole
break.
year.
Come
so,
on.
I mean, yeah, we deserve this too. So just so you know, so everyone knows. So for the next 2 weeks, we're like, hey, where'd Team Chat Podcast go? We didn't go anywhere. We're just taking a little break for a bit.
Yeah.
So before we jump into our main topic of the day, let's have a little moment with Mogan.
I don't even really need my phone this time because
phone?
almost nothing is coming out. But 2 things either are coming out or came out recently that are very near and dear to my heart. So one of the games that I've been following on Twitter since its like original inception, like concept art stages, Greece, so Gris, the French word for gray, just came out as of this episode's air date. So as of this episode's recording date, which means as of the episode air date, it will have been out for about 4 days.
It's the 13th.
So
today.
yes, Greece just came out. It's an indie game. It is beautiful. For the love of God, please play it. It looks fantastic.
It is very beautiful
Yeah,
looking.
it's just gorgeous. As far as what's out now, Firewatch for the Switch, another game that I adore. I've even been thinking, man, maybe I should like buy it again for Switch,
Hey,
even
if
though
you
I
love
have
it.
no reason to.
Still, though, I feel like there are certain games that take a special exception. Like, I almost bit the bullet and bought the physical version of Hellblade that just came out. They just released a couple of weeks ago. I almost did that.
Ooh, that sounds
But I've
nice.
spent a lot of money lately.
Yeah.
Tone it back.
I just had to get my car back up to being street legal, so...
Don't want to be driving around illegal.
Yeah, old Jonathan the Corolla sure did set me back quite a few dollars there. Whew.
Yeah, car repair. It's like car repair is like with video work. If you want to buy new equipment for video stuff, it's never cheap. Nothing's cheap.
It's never inexpensive. It's like, sure, why not?
Why
so
not? Here's
I'm
all my money.
on a tight budget now, but Grease, not a full price game. Firewatch, also not a full price game. So if you're looking for something here in the tail end of the year to get, and you haven't already gotten Smash Ultimate, put your money down on some perfect indies, Grease and Firewatch.
Very nice, very nice. I actually will probably finally pick up Firewatch on Switch. That seems, I know it's been out, we've talked about it for forever, and I've just been putting it off, but now the Switch seems the place where I will most likely play it and like have the most fun picking it up and like being able to carry around.
I'm never sure how I think you will react to games like Firewatch, but if there were ever a walking sim for you to like, I think it's Firewatch.
I'm surprising myself a lot more with the things that I'm starting.
So
I'm branching
out.
I really
need to like take up Call of Duty or something.
I know.
If you can,
like,
if
I've
you
had so
can
much
grow
growth.
and change. Meanwhile, I'm just over here in my pond stagnating.
Just sticking with all the same old things. You're just playing Legend of Dragoon
I guess
for the 50th
I gotta
time.
move over to the mainstream. Oh boy.
Oh man. So we're also not going to be having really a Red Dead roundup this week either, because one of the things we wanted to do, and hopefully I'll have more time over the holidays to actually play it. So I'll come back strong.
Better make like 50%.
I need to I want to find a day, hopefully during this holiday break and everything, where I just like sit down and do nothing but play games all day.
That
Get
sounds
caught
about
up on
right.
all this stuff. Play like 8 hours of Assassin's Creed. Play like, whatever's left in the day, 22 hours of Red Dead to like get really caught up with everything. I feel like that's what I need to
That
get
sounds
started.
right.
But, and then a few smatterings of Smash battles, and make sure my crops are watered in Stardew. Just make some solid thing. Speaking of Stardew, did you see I know we're going on all kind of tangents, but it all makes sense here in a second. But did you see my tweet that I sent out this morning?
No. Oh my God. Wait, what was it?
I was playing Stardew in bed last night.
As one does.
Because you can do
its
that on the
natural
Switch.
environment.
It's perfect.
The portability of the Switch, you see.
But the problem is, though, because of how relaxing a game that is, started getting the sleepies while playing it.
Oh, I did see your post. Now that I think about it.
So a brand new day started, and I fell asleep. Just one of those quick, you're out. Woke up. It was 12:20 at night in the game's time, which means I have maybe a minute and a half.
I mean, yeah, that's not a lot of real life time.
To do all the things I needed to do on my farm before I would collapse due to exhaustion. Leroy had just been standing there in front of the farmhouse doing nothing, just being a slacker.
Just being a slacker.
But I made it to bed at 1:50.
Yeah.
It was close.
Nice. I've had it happen to me before where it's literally 1:50. I think I'm going to make it to my bed. And then in the freaking hallway, I keel over and I'm I'm
God.
in the house. It should count. But it doesn't. It doesn't.
It doesn't count. They don't care where you are. They're still going to take you
man.
away, revive you, steal 300 gold, and then set you on your way.
In real life, that's something that never happens to me.
What, passing out in hallways? I would hope
no,
not.
I will never fall asleep doing something. If I'm playing a game or if I'm reading, even if it's in bed, I will not fall asleep.
Granted, it was midnight real life time at the same time, so that could be part of it. I usually don't either. The only other time I feel like I've actually remember falling asleep while playing a video game is the night before
Christmas?
No,
all through the house?
Sam and I's wedding, actually.
Oh, what?
The couple days before or whatever. She was off doing some final prep stuff or staying somewhere. I don't remember why we weren't together, but I was playing Grand Theft Auto 5 and it wasn't super late at night. And I totally fell asleep in the chair for a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why.
That's something that's just never happened to
Really?
me. Except for maybe if I've been sick.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. And even then it's maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need total
just have that
darkness.
stamina.
I need darkness and silence to be able to actually sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, since it is the end of the year, per usual, we'd like to wrap up the year by having basically our Team Chat year in review. Not necessarily about the show, but just about our general opinions to kind of just wrap up and close, tie a knot on the year, as it were, like you do your presents with the wrapping. you know,
indeed.
I had to struggle a little bit more for
Yeah.
that. For that one,
Okay.
but I got
We'll let it pass.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So basically, this is just an open discussion between Mogan and I of what we liked, what we didn't like, things we're not necessarily things we're looking forward to. That'll be the next episode, the one on the January 8th, which will also be our 150th episode. So it's a great way to start the year.
Oh, God.
I know, a lot of pressure on it.
Wow. Yeah. We're going to have to make it a really good one somehow.
Yeah, I know it.
Okay. We'll think of something.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Never
Because
fear.
it's the new year and like the representative of New Year's is like a baby. We'll just like kidnap a bunch of babies.
That sounds like a terrible
and put
idea.
them as backdrop on the episode. I think that's a really good idea.
I don't know how I feel about that
Full
one.
of good ideas, Jared. No bad ones
I'll give you
here.
the Christmas lights one, but kidnapping, no, I don't.
It
I
could
draw the
work.
line.
We're gonna give them back. We just need
they
them for like
parents?
1 hour. If you've ever met a parent of a newborn, they're happy when they're gone for an hour.
That's true.
Exactly.
So they can get some sleep.
Exactly.
Like I did.
We'll
playing
put them back. They're going to be fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably.
Maybe.
Fender seems like he could take care of some babies.
Oh, babies would just cuddle up next to him and sleep. It'd be great.
Henry might try to eat them.
Nah, he'd be okay with them. He'd just leave him alone. So to kick it off, where should we begin? I have my list of some things that I wanted to necessarily talk about, like some games that I normally feel, one of the things I like to do throughout the year is keep track of all the games that I've completed. So I guess we'll start there. I felt like at the beginning of this year, I was doing really good and was like knocking out some solid games and really trying out some different things. But then I stagnated pretty hard at like October until now.
Yeah, you really like all of these big games that you love came out. And I feel like because of their timing, you somehow wound up not being able to play any of them because they're all competing with each other.
It's not even necessarily that. It's life outside of everything. Work is always gets very busy at the end of the year, and I always underestimate how busy it's going to be. And then between that and some other things, like I just haven't had as much time as I would have liked.
Anecdotally, I probably do agree with you that I think I probably got a lot more quality play time in terms of just sheer hours.
Right.
Like beginning mid of the year. I will agree with that. I've still been playing a lot, of course. I never don't play a lot. But
I still get them. Yeah. But like the only thing I've been having time for is like quick one-off things. I haven't had as much time.
Thank God for Stardew, am I right?
I know, really? Yeah, I know. It really is. So the games that I completed this year, and these aren't necessarily ones that came out this year. I will note the ones that did come out this year, but these are even games that are like carryover from 2017. Ooh, don't want to pull stuff off the light.
Careful, Jared.
First one I completed this year was Super Mario Odyssey.
Okay, but you completed it, not that you started it.
Not that I started.
Okay,
These aren't necessarily that I started and completed. These are just I completed them.
I choked on my spit there because I was like, did Odyssey come out this year?
No, it was last
and
year.
I was about to have like an
October.
Existential crisis.
It was October last year because it came out on the same day as Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh, you're right.
Which was the next game I completed. So there we go. Then I played Wolfenstein: The New Order and Wolfenstein: The Old Blood.
Gosh, really? Mm-hmm. Did you finish those?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I think I started them both this year. Well, okay, I do have to do a caveat on The New Order. The universe did not want me to play this game because
what, Wolfenstein?
Wolfenstein: The New Order. I bought it used because I had like a GameStop gift card randomly, and I bought it used at GameStop. Played it, got about not quite halfway through, and it like the disc was like bad, so it didn't work. And I was like, well, crap, that sucks. Well, then when Wolfenstein 2 came out, they released a bundle that was The New Order and Old Blood.
Right.
So I bought that for Xbox. I was like, all right, I'll give this another shot. Got to the last mission and my save file corrupted.
Oh, bummer.
So at that point, I was like, I watched the final mission on YouTube and was like, fine, I completed this game.
Did it not have autosaves that you could fall back on?
Not that I could find.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, for example, with the Dishonored games,
it like froze while saving.
Oh,
so it was
that
kind. It just like it wouldn't even like pull up a load game as an option to do.
Wow, what a bummer!
I know.
Because I mean, the only example I really have to fall back on of like the alternative to that is Dishonored, where it will autosave a million files for you. So really, kind of at any time outside of your main game, you always have an option to fall back on, or like just restarting a single mission instead of the whole game.
Which makes sense for Dishonored.
Sucks. Yeah.
But whereas Wolfenstein is first-person shooter, and there's obviously not as like it has the checkpoints. But I don't remember what happened. But it's like
that sucks.
I was so mad. But then Wolfenstein New Order, Wolfenstein The Old Blood, then God of War for PS4. That one did come out, and I did complete this year. Horizon Zero Dawn: The Frozen Wilds. Far Cry 5, also another one that came out this year. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
I can't believe that game came out this year.
It was so fun.
Like, that's one of the ones where my mental timing is so off.
I think it came back out in May, something like that.
Yeah, it came out in like March or May.
I bought it. We were in New York City in May when it came out, and I bought it at the Nintendo store in New York,
that's just
not
wild.
Times Square, in
That's
Rockefeller Center.
Crazy.
Then we have Overcooked 2 for PS4, also came out this year. We are, though, still in progress on the DLC for that one. So just the main story we've completed.
Very nice.
Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, Guacamelee 2, Life is Strange 2, Episode 1. So I'm still working through, though, from this year. Like I said, Red Dead 2, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Stardew Valley, Hollow Knight, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
So you actually just kind of brought up a tangential topic that I did actually have knocking around in my mind that I wanted to talk about. Life is Strange.
Yeah.
So Life is Strange 2 came out this year, of course, in what?
September.
Late
September, like the 27th.
Yeah. And we both played basically the entire first episode, like right when it came out, and we both finished it.
And I should have included on this list Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit.
Oh, yeah, of course. Technically, they are.
Technically,
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, of course, with the original Life is Strange, Jerrett and I both played it when all of the episodes had already been completed. So we got to go from one to the other in rapid succession. Now that I know firsthand what episodic gaming really feels like, I agree with my original thought. I hate it.
Oh, yeah.
Because every time somebody mentions Life is Strange 2, my immediate thought is, oh, yeah, I played that game. The amount of time that it takes for, especially in today's like media environment where you're just being bombarded with new games, new movies, new books all the time. It is so easy to get derailed from something that you were really excited about. So even though I am still super excited to continue with Life is Strange 2, the fact that there's this months-long gap between when episodes come out, I don't think is helping it. I think it's a bad way to do games. If it were like month to month, okay, that's kind of something to look forward to.
Like every 2 weeks
or bi-weekly.
Like that.
But it's now been, 3 months?
Yeah.
And the next episode
is still, we don't know.
We don't know the date even.
I think maybe January.
I hate it. I don't like that at all. I think it's bad for the player mindset, and I think that because of that, it's bad for the game. I don't like this format.
It honestly makes me feel like I need to replay episode 1 again.
Exactly.
But also, I don't want to have to do that when it's episode 5 and have to replay episode 1 through 4 again.
Exactly. Like, it just reinforces my mindset of, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
I'll just wait for the whole thing to be done, and then I'll go back and play it. Obviously, I don't think I will do that, but I just don't think episodic gaming format with this sort of release date time frame is a good thing for anyone. I do not like it at all.
If it's I know there were other things behind the scenes happening that led to this, but the biggest pusher of that type of game, Telltale, is now no more. So.
Oh, yeah.
If that has any indication.
Gosh, I forgot.
know there was bad management stuff there too, but also like that's what they built
was
their core
Telltale
around.
in charge of
They were Walking Dead, Tales from the Borderlands.
Oh, right. They were just episodic
Wolf Among
games.
Us.
One of the more prominent
they
members
only
of
made like episodic games.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, there was bad management things other than that happening behind the scenes, but maybe that had an impact.
Yeah, actually, I kind of agree with you. Maybe that is some sort of indicator of the relative health or lack thereof of the episodic gaming format.
Granted, that's just an idea off the top of my head that just
I don't
came
know,
to me.
I like it, though.
I have done no research behind that.
That's fine. I think that I could certainly, if I did a little bit more thought into it, I could probably get behind that. But yeah, if episodic gaming as a format died today, I'd be perfectly fine with that.
Well, as another example, Hitman.
Hitman?
Not the original Hitman game.
You may not know this, but Hitman is the spiritual successor to Pikmin.
Pikmin?
Yeah, indeed.
Olimar
They're
and
the same
Agent 47.
The same game.
But so basically the reboot of the Hitman franchise that came out a couple of years ago, it was episodic. And then they released a Game of the Year edition that had the whole thing. Well, now they just released Hitman 2, and it's not episodic. So again,
that's what I'm saying.
Like
episodic gaming, I mean, as an experiment, I like that the gaming industry occasionally tries new things, but I feel like episodic gaming does not work. I don't like it.
It needs to be a tighter schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
It could work if it was a tighter schedule.
Right.
But this like you said, 3+ months in between? No.
And I mean, considering the amount of actual play hours that are really realistically put into each episode of Life is Strange, even a 1 week schedule, I think wouldn't be that bad of a thing.
Yeah, because I mean, I assume that they do this. It's not, I don't feel like they're sitting with the game finished right now. You know?
I don't know. I feel like they are. I feel like they're just looking at it like on their shelf and they're like, man,
that just makes no sense.
Any day now. No, you're right. I do agree with you. I was just joking there.
So maybe they do it that way just to allow more development time, but also just delay the game until it's done. Have episode 1 launch 1 week, and then very soon thereafter release the remaining episodes. I think that would be the best way to go.
Aside from things like bug fixes or very mild changes to gameplay mechanics, surely they already have the entire story thought out.
Oh, yeah.
How many more changes could there really be?
And in this day and age with patches and all that stuff, people don't give a crap about launch day bugs because it still happens every every game. Something happens almost.
Exactly.
There are obviously exceptions, but still. So what would be something from this year that you were most excited about? Like, I want to save our Game of the Year picks, although I'm assuming most people can probably guess them if they've been listening to the show for any amount of time. But what were some things that you particularly liked about this year?
So I am going to kind of leave my top 3, as it were, off for right now, and I'm just going to kind of briefly go through some of the games that I know I finished. My memory capacity is actually very limited, and I feel like I forget stuff that I played all the time, which is kind of not a good thing in any way, shape, or form. But some of the games that I did play that I kind of had not bad feelings, but medium feelings on would of course be Fee, which you may remember came out in February.
Yeah, it was very early in the year.
That sounds about right. Would be Fee, Gone Home, which is not a new game at all, but that I did play in its entirety.
Right. I
finished finally The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, as we discussed, and maybe a couple of other smaller games sprinkled around in there. And of those, of what I would consider to be the more peripheral games, I think Fee was probably one of the ones that I liked the most.
Really?
So Fee was in no way, shape, or form a perfect game. For anyone that doesn't know by this time, Fee is an indie coming from Sweden? Norway?
Yes. Sweden.
Was it Sweden? Yeah. Zoink Games, isn't that the developer? And it is a very unique artistic style featuring this little fox-type creature that's not really any real animal, it's just kind of its own thing. And you just sort of go through this semi-open world, not really, they're kind of more contained levels, and you're trying to figure out the mystery, I suppose, of this strange hostile presence of these stone giants that trap other animals and creatures in game and sort of transport them to God knows where. And as an actual game, I will say that I thought there were a number of things that I didn't particularly like about Fee. The gameplay, at least on Switch, was particularly prone to stuttering. I guess maybe it just could be the Switch. It could be the fact that the hardware for Switch unfortunately, doesn't have the capacity to be able to run that game in a very smooth manner, but I noticed a lot of stuttering. Sometimes the gameplay mechanics would be really clunky. You'd think you were going one way, and then it kind of cuts you off, and you're like, well, shit, now I got to go all the way back up this mountain that I just fell off of, because it's a platformer primarily, which was certainly frustrating, but the overall impression that I got from Fee was very good. It was kind of like a bittersweet mystery, and there were parts of Fee that will be considered top gaming moments of my year for sure. Kind of early on in the game, you get to this point, I think we talked about it when the game came out, where you are essentially ascending up and up and up a living creature that is just of colossal size. That moment was fantastic in the game. And the final act of the game, which I don't want to give too much away because it is still very much new in context, the final act of the game where you are essentially I'll say metaphorically ascending the final tower is very fantastic and very impactful. The ending itself, so-so. But the lead up to that, very on point, and I really liked it a lot.
Nice.
Gone Home, the lesbian surprise you didn't see coming. I was like, whoa, lesbians, they got me. Super charming, a fantastic narrative, and considering that Gone Home is actually one of the OG walking sims, I see where a lot of the I suppose, influence came into play for later walking sims like Firewatch. So I think that as a whole, I've had a very interesting year in gaming. Punctuated is the right word. Punctuated by a couple of course, recurring hits. Like, for example, I still pumped a lot of time into Overwatch.
Right. Obviously. Right. Same. Like I've still been keeping up with Overwatch throughout the year, which their Christmas event is going on right now.
The holiday event is on right now, everybody. Did you hear, though, that they tried to make, what's it called? Blizzard World. So they, of course, holidayfied Blizzard World, and apparently that kind of like broke the game. So they had to temporarily like not offer Blizzard World as a map.
I think it's like locking people in the spawn room.
Yeah, it's totally broken. I actually don't know as of now if they've fixed it or not.
So from Mogan's list of what she was talking about, I wanted to go ahead if people wanted to go back and listen to some of this stuff. Mogan's.
Because I think I did a review of Fee.
You did.
It would have been like March.
Episode 107. Let's talk about For Honor and Fee. So you can go back and listen to that one. Again, that's episode 107.
We talked about For Honor this year?
That was like my final thing because the game came out in like February. And so this one came out in February. When did actually we publish? Yeah, 9 months ago.
Oh my gosh.
And that's when I like kind of finally gave my final like wrap up of it. Your review of Gone Home was much more recent.
Very recent.
It was episode 142. Gone Home and Red Dead Redemption 2.
I played it as my Halloween game because of the atmosphere.
That's right.
Turns out it was just adorable lesbians.
We skipped our...
The lesbians tricked me again.
We skipped our traditional horror game episode to focus because Red Dead had come out that week, and then you wanted to talk about Gone Home action. So go back and listen to those again. Episodes 107 and 142. Let's see. What would be some of my bigger moments of things? I guess I didn't necessarily put together a top 3, but of these things, I feel like the one big difference that I really changed for me this year is how much I took some chances on things. I feel like I explored indies better, which I really was kind of a goal of mine this year.
Because you played Guacamelee this year?
Guacamelee 2.
Ah, right.
Yeah. Guacamelee I played several years ago.
Oh, okay.
And then, so Guacamelee 2 for one. Overcooked 2, obviously, like, I knew from those games, from the original games of those series, I knew I would like the sequels. So that's why I went with those. But, Stardew Valley on paper would be something I did not think I would like. And yet, I really enjoy it. I've been dabbling in Hollow Knight some. We've actually had a pretty fun conversation on Discord between Brandon and then Fuchsia and some other people who have played the game into our various degrees of completion and where we sit in the game and how difficult it
for the majority of people, like 5%. For just like maybe Bro Mogan, like 90%.
Sitting there at the completion, close to the completion there. And then I've just dabbled with a few more things. I feel like and that's been a lot of fun to explore some of these smaller games that I feel like I've in the past years, past Jerrett would not have. And I feel like I am forgetting a few more that I've dabbled in. I just feel like with the Switch playing, I know I haven't got to the full game yet, but playing the demo at least completing the full 3-hour demo of Octopath Traveler. JRPGs, I've said many times, are not my cup of tea. I have tried them before. One that I remember spending a few hours in is Freedom Wars on the Vita.
Freedom Wars. What the hell?
It was a fun like combat game, but
okay.
And everything. You're like this. It's like I'm trying to remember. You're a prisoner and you have like basically a 1 billion year sentence, and then you can complete these tasks and things and missions for the government that basically take years off your sentence. But it's like the tiniest slip ups and mess ups outside of these missions, and you get more years added back onto your sentence. So I played that for a few. I liked it. I liked like the kind of the combat with it. It just, I don't know, just didn't grab me. So I was surprised how much I enjoyed Octopath Traveler.
Right.
And I would eventually like to get around to playing the whole thing. Again, I know that's a massive undertaking, and I have some other big games like I can't even plan or think about wanting to start that until I've at least gone through Red Dead 2.
See, what's interesting is Octopath Traveler, I feel, has such a perfect positioning to maintain its relevance because it didn't go with the newest and best graphics.
Right.
Because Octopath chose to go with this more, I'm putting this in like air quotes here, traditional pixelated style, that obviously has a ton of staying power. I mean, there are still games from the Game Boy Advance like Golden Sun, which were in that 16-bit top-down pixel style that still hold up fantastically.
It taps into that nostalgia factor.
Exactly. And Octopath Traveler kind of took that same sort of graphic, artistic style and just updated it for the new day. And I think it's such a good choice because it makes the game feel like it has a quality of timelessness. So I feel like even if you wait a few years to play Octopath, it will still be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely so. So that's been a lot of fun. I have enjoyed also this year getting into, as has everyone else, jumping really more into the Battle Royale genre of games and playing that out.
Good sir.
I do believe.
Except for during the Game Awards. Not the Game Awards.
Extra Life.
Extra Life.
You loved Fortnite of what you played.
I did that one time, but like
you haven't picked it
I've
up
gone
again?
No. It's okay.
Yeah.
I tried to play it a couple more times.
So you tried to branch out.
And I was kind of bored.
Yeah.
Like eventually I just realized, I mean, this is kind of fun, but it's not really the game style for me.
I found it boring until I bought the Battle Pass. Because when you buy the Battle Pass, it unlocks all these challenges for you to do every week of each season. And that added so much more drive for me to come back to the game and play it outside. And I would just play rounds. Didn't care if I wasn't trying to win. I was just trying to complete challenges. And that made it fun and added a little bit more of a replayability factor for me. But then I've also been playing a lot of Blackout for the Call of Duty Black Ops 4's Battle Royale mode. I've been playing a lot of that and everything. Obviously, as you can see, we added a Fortnite llama here
We sure do.
to our desk. Again, video listeners or audio listeners, you're missing out a little bit here, so you can see our fun studio set we got up here. But yeah, so I've really enjoyed getting into that games as well, those and exploring that new genre as well. What would be a surprise for you from this last year? And again, like this is our personal year in review. Like we are obviously talking about things that and events that happened in 2018, but we could also say talk about like, for example, I won't get into it yet. I'll let you answer the question first. But my surprise was a game from not from this year that I just happened to play this year.
Stardew Valley?
Well, that's
so this is one of the games that I did list as like my top 3 of the year. I actually like Stardew here in the final act of 2018 made that list because it shot itself up so high in my personal lexicon of games. I think Stardew Valley is the one that I was the most surprised by.
Nice.
Just in terms of how many sheer hours I've already put into it, I think at last count I was already over 65 hours. I don't know how many you've put into it.
Not that many.
I'm pretty far along. And, I know people who have put 200 plus hours into Stardew.
And it's a very easy game to see how.
And it's such an easy game to do that kind of commitment with, because the beauty of Stardew is its unique ability to trick you into thinking that not that much time has passed.
Oh, yeah.
Because it works on that really condensed day schedule in game. It makes you feel like, oh, I've only completed 1 day. That's nothing. I've only completed 2 days. That's nothing. I've only completed 3 days. I've got to at least get through the rest of the week in Stardew time. And then 7 hours later, you're like, wow, I haven't done anything in my real life. And I made my dinner 5 hours ago and forgot about it. Whoops. So the fact that Stardew just manages to really get its claws into you in terms of addictive games, it's very impressive.
It sticks with me and it grabs me like Civilization does.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Civilization, I love that series, but it's one that I know I have to be very selective of when I play it because I'm going to be sitting there for a few hours, and no other game really has that same ability on me. Unlike how Stardew Valley does. So I would agree. Stardew Valley was a huge surprise in how
fantastic
and how engaging of a game that is.
I will say that as of this episode's record date, it just recently came out. I haven't been able to try it out yet. Is the online multiplayer for Stardew.
Same. I haven't had a chance to play it.
Yeah, I haven't been able to actually circle back and try that, but I'm really looking forward to it when we eventually do.
Yeah.
However, I don't think I'm going to be accepting a bunch of gifts from other people who are further along, because that somehow makes you feel like you did less work. It's like, no, I want to make my farm wonderful on my own.
Right now, I'd just be able to give people just like raw fruits and vegetables.
There you go. Just like
maybe some eggs. I give a lot of mayonnaise.
Yeah.
I give a lot of mayonnaise.
Yeah, I can too. Actually, what I really need are earth crystals to make more mayo machines.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I had 8, my day would be so much easier.
I know, because mayonnaise actually takes a long time to
and
make.
Earth crystals are kind of hard to find.
They are.
Yeah, so online people, give me your earth crystals and nothing else, just the earth crystals.
That's all she needs.
So yeah, I would say that Stardew was easily one of the highlights of my year in gaming, miraculously over just like a month, and I think I will probably continue to play it well into 2019.
Nice. Same for me. I actually would think I'll save the one I was going to talk about because it was more in line to, I don't want to get into our favorites of the year quite yet, so I think I'll save that one a little bit also. And also I talked about how Stardew was kind of a surprise for me as well. What would be one of your biggest disappointments from the year? It could be an announcement, something that happened in the gaming industry, a game that you thought you were going to love but didn't. What kind of hits that mark for you?
It's a real mixed bag because on the one hand, I know exactly what I'm going to say, by the way. On the one hand, I did not dislike it, but I also didn't love it as much as I assumed I would. It would be Night in the Woods.
Oh, yeah.
So I played and completed Night in the Woods actually right around the time of Halloween. It was kind of my pre-Halloween game because, again, this is another indie. I think it came out sooner than 2018, but it made its way to Switch in 2018.
This is episode 140 where she talks about it.
Yeah, so this was really recently in terms of like the show's lifespan. So Night in the Woods, based on the premise and the art style and the pitch, I thought I would love it. I thought I would be obsessed with it. I liked it, but I did not love it. And there are 2 key reasons that I think I didn't attach myself to it as much as I thought I would. A, I did really find the main character of May to be profoundly unlikable. I mean, I tried to like feel for her, and I think they did a better job of fleshing out her character in kind of the game's final act than they did in the beginning portions. But even so, I found May quite hard to like. I liked a lot of the non-playable characters a lot more. And I loved the environment that Night in the Woods tried to build in terms of the town of Possum Springs. I think it's a really interesting reflection of a very modern problem of these sort of smaller, previously highly industrial towns being hollowed out because industry is no longer there. People have to leave just to find jobs, and you're finding this decay of culture. I thought that was really interesting, and I really liked that aspect of the game. But the actual gameplay, I found a little lacking. It was kind of a little, not necessarily boring, but a little tedious at times. The fact that I couldn't make May run any faster, I was like, why not? Why can't I run?
It's like the thing that I've been seeing pop up on memes everywhere is there's a special place in hell for developers who make NPCs walk just slower than you can walk, run, or whatever that is. Where it's basically like there's never a good speed.
There's never a good speed, and I felt like May's fixed walking speed. I was just like, oh my god, go faster! Like I was furious trying to play this game. But I can't say that I blame the developers at all for that, because I think part of the point of Night in the Woods is it's a slower pace. The town itself is slower pace. It's a small town. Where I think the game really almost hooked me but lost me is the fact that at the very end, so this is a little bit, it's very spoilery, at the very end of Night in the Woods, as it turns out, all of the, air quotes, ghosts that you've been seeing around town, all the spooky things that have been happening, which there weren't many of, to be honest. There were only a few instances of things being creepy, which I feel like I was sold on Night in the Woods being more of a creepy game, and in the end it really kind of wasn't, so that's part of the reason I kind of have a grudge against it. Yeah. But at the very end, as it turns out, the reason for the few creepy things that has happened is that there's a cult in town of people who believe that some sort of cosmic god or being or some sort of entity, they think that this thing lives at the bottom of their ancient mine shaft. And they believe that if they feed it sacrifices, i.e. live humans, that it will revive their town. That is such a good idea that they could have made amazing. I mean, get it? Amazing? Amazing? They could have made that amazing.
Yeah.
The idea of a decaying American town kind of on its last legs in terms of, are people still going to live there? Is it going to become a ghost town? The idea that around this anxiety of seeing your town die, a cult would rise up and human sacrifices would happen, and there may or may not be a real god at the bottom of a mine shaft. That's fascinating stuff. And I so wish that there had been a lot more of that. I wish that that had just been part one of a two-part story. I wish that Night in the Woods had continued with that vein. And unfortunately it didn't, and I feel like I personally lost a lot of my interest level because that was not more expanded
You thought
upon.
it was going somewhere and then just dropped it.
I felt like it had so much potential to really go somewhere into like eldritch horror territory, which are very much the overtones that it was trying to convey. And then it just like didn't. It just didn't go there as much as I wanted it to, and I was very disappointed by that.
Yeah.
So even though I do like Night in the Woods, and I would recommend it to some people, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that if given the chance to play it again, I might. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my feelings on Night in the Woods. I like it for what it is, but I feel like it could have been so much more.
Interesting.
Come on, Night in the Woods developers. I don't know who you are. I forget.
Take another chance on your whatever your next game is.
Try again. Night in the Woods 2. Expand on that.
For me, I would say my biggest disappointment. I mean, my biggest disappointment overall is that we still don't know when The Last of Us Part 2 is coming out.
Can I take guesses? I want to take wild guesses.
Sure. Outside of The Last of Us Part 2, we still don't know when it's coming out, and that still bumps me out.
Red Dead 2.
No.
Bummer. Man, I thought I had you. I'm not looking at your notes.
Talked about it a lot.
Destiny 2?
No. Although, actually, that was a 2017 game, and I already knew by the end of 2017 I was not going to like that game.
The DLC for Horizon Zero Dawn?
Nope.
Dang it. Okay,
You're
I don't
jumping
know.
all around it.
I don't know. Sorry.
Far Cry 5.
Oh, duh. I knew that. Man.
I wanted to love that game, especially because of how much, and we've talked about this in length, so I won't belabor the point, but I loved the idea and the concept. It's pretty much what you were saying about Night in the Woods with the cult. I mean, it's exactly the same.
Who doesn't
it's a cult.
love cults? Am I right?
Really?
What
For
a
sure.
fun topic
Oh,
for
yeah.
everyone that's not in the cult.
And could really have an interesting, you can always build some interesting stories around that. And that's what Far Cry 5 looked like it was going to do. It looked like it was going to be making a statement considering the current political climate in America. The fact that it was actually taking place in America, the fact that it was taking place in the American West, basically, Hope County, Montana.
Not even the West, like the Midwest.
Yeah.
Because Montana...
The breadbasket,
yeah, I
basically,
think-
of America.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe not Montana, but like in that general area.
You get the idea.
You get the idea. It's like Americana at heart, basically. And so they're showing like the evil that can rise from that, which that sounds...
So much evil.
That sounds like there could be a lot to do there. I just feel like they flubbed the execution. The story was very convoluted and really never pushed the point you thought they were going to be making. The villains were very bland, to put it lightly. They were very... There was a moment in this one, like I said, none of them, like they had this different thing. Like there was John Seed, who was the propaganda guy basically for the cult. There was Faith Seed, who was the brainwasher, like she produced the drug that allowed the cult to control people's minds. Then there was
Local pharmacist.
Yeah. Then there was Jacob Stone, who was the
muscle.
The muscle, the general. He trained the soldiers and all that stuff.
The
for for
Mussolini of the...
yeah, sure.
Sure.
And so and then obviously there was the father, Joseph Seed, who you knew was like, oh, he's the big bad. He's in charge of it all. And you felt like they really could have done something there. But then with the very poorly executed system where the villains would capture you, monologue at you, and then you escape. But then each villain was able to recapture you, monologue at you, and let you escape 3 times.
Oh my God,
Before
no.
you finally did the final mission where you were able to defeat them.
No.
And So the one thing where I thought that story could have taken a little bit of turn, which slight spoilers here for everyone. Yeah, it's actually kind of big spoilers. But so you're warned. Take your, unplug your headphones, whatever. Pause, skip ahead. I felt like there could have been more area for the story to grow in the fact that John, Joseph, and Jacob were all brothers. Faith, even though they called her their sister, was not actually from their family. She was someone who they kind of took in the cult, and then she grew in power in there. When you're fighting her, she at the end of the battle with her, as you're about to kill her, starts like saying like, "I'm not one of them." Like when she can tell she's losing and all this. I would have thought it would have been way more cool of a story point for you to not kill Faith and her join you basically, but then, or kind of act as like your person on the inside in the cult. I feel like that could have taken a much more dramatic turn for the story, and then maybe even had a plot point where Joseph Seed then has to kill her.
Alternatively, I think I like where you're going with that. I think it would have also been cool for her to fake you out, as it were, and to say, "Oh, I'm not awesome one of them. They, recruited me into their cult, but I don't really want to be here." But then for her to eventually betray you at the end, oh man,
that would have been cool.
Yeah,
also
thinking outside the box.
I feel like. And so, no, all the villains felt very blind. The father was the only one who had the most sinister feel to him and actually did genuinely have some sinisterness, even though I feel like sometimes it was a little overplayed how sinister they were trying to make him. I am glad that he is coming.
So overdramatic.
I do like that they're bringing him back for the sequel, Far Cry 5 New Dawn, or Far Cry New Dawn, that was just announced at the Game Awards. That is exciting to me. And characters from Far Cry 5 will be coming back for that game as well. That is exciting to me. But as overall, I felt like the messaging and what the story they were trying to push just fell completely flat. The second disappointment that I feel, a close follow-up to this one, in the fact that I started it and already got off of it and really don't have a desire to go back to it, is even though I had a lot of high hopes for the game, is We Happy Few.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I really did want to play that one. Did you start it?
I started it, played several hours into the game, because it was all about, I was doing it specifically because we were possibly gonna do a first impression of it,
right?
And I kind of just stopped.
Yeah,
I wanted to play it a lot because of its BioShock vibes, because the atmosphere and everything seemed like it was going to be great. It had some really great moments in the beginning of the game, but then as you got kind of outside of the main introductory plot line and got more into the story, it kind of just fell bland.
That's unfortunate.
So, and I put it down and just haven't got back around to it. And I don't know if I will.
I mean, sometimes that's just how it works with the game. That's unfortunate because We Happy Few looked like it had, again, a lot of potential, but sometimes it just doesn't work out in the execution. What can you do? What
can you do, indeed. Now, before we jump to our favorites, which we had a couple categories there that we'll throw, one more that I just want to do a quick rapid fire answer on. What do you think was the biggest controversy of the year? I have 3.
The biggest controversy?
Yeah, like in gaming. I have 3 that I've thought of. And if you think of anything else, or if, listeners, if you think of anything else and you want to send us a note at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com or comment below on other things that I might have missed. But I have 3. The shutting of Telltale and how they handled that.
Yeah.
Rockstar and their crunch time. That popped up at the end.
Yeah.
And then the release and subsequent PR disaster of Fallout 76.
Ooh, man, I got to say Fallout 76.
Really?
That's really kind of the only one that I could think of off the top of my head, and that's why I'm citing it as what I would believe to be, at least in my own mind, the biggest controversy. And man, it has really continued to be just a shit show. And I did recently kind of do a little bit more research into why it might be so bad. So, of course, our old pal, Todd Howard, everybody's friend, it is worth noting that he's not really one of the people that is responsible for this whole debacle.
He's high up.
He's high up, so he's not totally devoid of culpability. But there's another guy who was really like the showrunner for Fallout 76, and regrettably I cannot remember his name at this time. Yeah, you look it up. But I think he's fairly well known as being a personality in the gaming industry that is very my way or the highway. He's big into advocating for aggressive microtransactions, and he's one of the people that worked on Fallout 76 at a very high level. I don't remember his name, but I could see, I can picture his face in my mind, He's a lot taller than Todd Howard. Todd Howard, he's a small man, in case you don't know. But this guy, man, I don't remember his name. We might have to make an addendum to this post, but
yeah, I'll have to look it up and I'll add it in later once I find it.
I know I could find it if I looked myself. I know,
but yeah, I'll add that in later.
So
All right, I'm going to jump in here real quick just to fill in the blanks here. The executive from Bethesda that Mogan is talking about is Pete Hines.
the point being, I think a lot of Fallout 76's problems on launch, maybe they will fix them in the future, maybe not, are that it had a ton of interference from a high corporate level that was primarily geared towards nothing but profit, which of course games have to be profitable to survive. I understand that. But that doesn't mean that you can't derail the profitability of a game with nothing but drive for profit.
Yep.
I know that's very double speaky, but that's kind of what my point is. So Fallout 76, boy, they really done fucked it up.
Yeah, they did. For me though, I think I gotta go with the shutting of Telltale.
Yeah, that was
one for
pretty
me,
scandalous.
More because of how poorly
Oh, my
employees
God.
were treated at the close of that one.
Terrible.
The Rockstar one, if the allegations that were made there were true, yeah, that's pretty bad too. As far as the forced crunch and all that stuff, that there's never been a conclusive was there actually or not for that one. Obviously people there are saying no, I've never been forced to work more than I've needed to every week. Dan Houser, the writer and one of the head writers for Red Dead Redemption 2, he came out saying that I do this and the writing team does this when we feel it's necessary, but we've never required it.
To be fair,
obviously,
though,
other people though on the outside have then said who've worked there before, but said, yeah, I crunched a lot.
And to be fair, with the guy that you just mentioned, he's a really high level dude. High level people, I'm not saying they're liars per se, but they will defend their company,
Right.
Because they're defending their own jobs. You cannot always say what you actually mean in the public eye, and I think it's laughable for someone to say that crunch doesn't happen when we all know it does.
Right. But still, though, Telltale, I think, takes that one for me because not only in how shittily, really, that they handled the shutdown.
Good verb usage there.
Employees
Wait, adverb,
had,
my bad.
Yeah. Employees really had no notice. They were let go without severance. And then even after all this happened and there was this outcry from the games industry as a whole about hey, you're really treating your employees terribly, their still main focus seemed to be more on getting the final episode of The Walking Dead final season out the door rather than taking care of their employees. And I think for that, on and of itself, that one for me is the biggest controversy of the last
And it's
of the last year.
dude, you're already shutting down. Just give your employees severance packages.
Yep.
Well, how much money are you really going to make with this in the wake of all this scandal? Probably not that much.
Yeah, I bet they'll still make
I mean, I'm sure they probably did still make some money, but, it's just unethical business practices ultimately.
All right, well, let's jump now to our favorites. So I got two things. Obviously, our favorite game of the year, but then obviously one of our other favorite things with gaming in general, favorite soundtrack.
Oh, man, I didn't prepare for this.
All right, I'll go first.
Shit.
I'll go
Okay,
first and
yeah,
give you time to think.
You say stuff.
I've got three, I think. Number one, or actually, no, I'll do it this way. Number three, Octopath Traveler. It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's so good.
Okay.
I was listening to it again today as I was working. It's great.
So real quick, I do just want to go on ahead and be very upfront so that we're not overlapping too much. Octopath Traveler is my gaming highlight of the year.
Oh, boom.
Octopath Traveler is my number one. A big part
In
of that
soundtrack?
in
Or
everything.
everything? Okay.
In everything. A big part of that is the soundtrack, but go on.
So even for not having played the game, which for me, normally a big part of playing the game, of enjoying the soundtrack and really loving the soundtrack is playing the game
See,
and
I
hearing
can
it with it.
perfectly separate those two things.
But with this instance, yeah, Octopath Traveler's soundtrack is fantastic.
it's so good.
My number two, Far Cry 5. Even though the game was not the greatest, the soundtrack, it's so good.
What a shame. What a shame to marry a wonderful soundtrack to a shitty game.
Right. It really is. And so, but then obviously my top, God of War, Bear McCreary, gotta say it again, fantastic job on that soundtrack.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't played God of War personally, as you know. The likelihood that I ever will is low, to say the least.
No, it's pretty damn good.
I mean, it looks amazing. Maybe someday, years from now. But for the near future, I probably will not play it. But I also can enjoy the soundtrack to my heart's content.
Oh yeah, because it is a damn good one. So outside of Octopath Traveler, what do you think your highlights of soundtrack are?
So my other one in terms of soundtrack would be I haven't personally played it. I've only really seen other people play it, Bro Mogan, and or heard other people talk about it. But the Hollow Knight soundtrack,
Oh, it is good. I have listened to that one.
absolute perfection.
And Dead Cells.
Oh yeah, Dead Cells.
Another good one.
I mean, they are just like next level perfection. Octopath has a wonderful soundtrack. Hollow Knight is amazing. Celeste has some killer tracks on
is great,
there.
too.
So it's Dead Cells, they're all really good. I feel like one of the key
Also,
He-
those are solid indie games.
Yeah,
also.
I was going to say, I think one of the key hooks of a lot of indies these days is that they are somehow managing to find next level composers. Like, I want to be like, where are you finding these people?
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing this? That your composers are so amazing. And really, it's what draws me to a ton of these indies is what's the soundtrack like? And anymore, I'm not going to AAA games for my soundtrack. I'm going to indies for them because I know the indies are significantly more likely
Yeah.
to come out with an astounding product.
Nice.
So,
So before we jump to our official top 3 games of the year, our friend Brandon, he's sent in a list of some of his tops. His top 5 games for the year are Dead Cells, Hollow Knight, The Messenger, God of War, Celeste. His best remake or remaster is Shadow of the Colossus. And he also sent us some most anticipated games of 2019, but we're going to save that, though, for next
it's a
episode.
mystery, everybody. Now, I do want to do a quick, not even caveat, just a quick mention. One of the primary reasons that Hollow Knight is still very much in everybody's mind, even though it didn't come out in 2018, it had a bunch of DLC come out this year. So it had 2 DLC. I think one was like Grim Troop and the other one was about Hornet that both came out this year.
For Hollow Knight?
For Hollow Knight.
Oh,
yeah,
I
it had
missed that.
some big DLC come out this year. So I think that's part of why Hollow Knight is still very much kind of in
And it
the
made its Switch debut this year. I
It
believe,
did,
too.
exactly. So all of those things combined make Hollow Knight still very relevant and still very much worth a play. For God's sake, people, if you have the spiritual fortitude, which I do not, but if
I've
you
tried,
want
and
to,
it's taxing my
yeah,
spiritual
it is.
fortitude.
It's taxing to say the least. But if you have the mechanical ability and the spiritual fortitude, you can play Hollow Knight. Play Hollow Knight and enjoy it. Follow Knight. I'm going to make my own game
Called
called
Follow
Follow Knight.
All right, so with that then, let's wrap it up then with our favorite games of the year, which I know we've probably talked about these, so people probably, there's not a whole lot of mystery surrounding these, but what are your top 3?
So my top 3, Stardew Valley, number 3. We've already talked about why. I feel like I really don't need to expand on
Yep.
it. Number 1, we've also already touched on, Octopath Traveler. I've already said all of this, but I cannot say it enough because I want people to play it so very badly. Octopath Traveler is one of the best JRPGs I have ever played. Ever, like period. And this is coming off of another game series that I adore, the Bravely series.
Right.
I love Bravely Default. I love Bravely Second. But Octopath Traveler, which is by kind of the same team that worked on those games, takes everything that was good about them, tweaks it just a little, and somehow made it better.
Nice.
One of the things that I think I always kind of got a little annoyed with the Bravely series is that a lot of the character dialogue and the characterization was very stereotypical of what you might expect from a JRPG. You're like, wow, so this is really characters A, B, C, and D, very cookie cutter kind of copy and paste,
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily bad. And in a lot of ways, they did try to expand on that if you actually play the games. But at first impression, you're like, oh, okay, this is my healer girl. This is my fighter dude. This is my fighter dude, but he has like a dark, scary past. This is my fighter girl, and she's like kind of spunky. And that's very much Bravely's, not Bravely's. Well, yes, Bravely's. Oh my God, I still get them confused all the time. That's very much Bravely's approach. Whereas Octopath Traveler, by virtue of having 8 total characters that you actively play all the time, it gave a feeling of so much more variability. And the ability to change out your party at will at any time, with the exception of the character that you choose at the beginning, was a much loved feature for me. The Brave system of being able to actually, how you use your battle points in combat, that's a fantastic take on the Brave system from the Bravely Games. And everything about it was just super engaging. I never got tired of fights. Even little fights with like super common monsters. One of the personal ways that you can always challenge yourself is domination. So of course, anytime that you're in a fight, you can earn experience points, job points, and money? I don't know what leaves. They call them leaves. And I was like, okay, leaves of money. I got you. You can earn money, job points, and experience points. And if you happen to wipe out all of the enemies all in one turn, like with just one turn of your 4 characters, you then get a domination because you did it all in one turn. And that's a feature that they really encouraged in the Bravely series, but made better in Octopath. Octopath is just such a good example of learning from a development perspective. And I cannot say enough good things about it. Anyone and everyone should play Octopath, even if you don't play JRPGs.
It is definitely in my future.
10 out of 10. 1,000 out of 10.
Fender, no.
Would recommend. See, Fender agrees with me. Oh my God. I hope everyone could hear that. He's really jazzed about Octopath Traveler.
He barked real loud.
He barked real loud. He borked real loud.
So those are your top 3 then.
I actually didn't mention my second.
Sorry.
So the number 2 that I haven't mentioned, but that is very much still in my heart and mind, is Monster Hunter World.
Oh, yeah.
So even though my problems with the game are well documented and still hold true.
Quick recap. Campaign, single player, you have to sludge through a lot of stuff.
Correct.
And then matchmaking is difficult.
Matchmaking freaking blows. So the point of my frustrations with Monster Hunter World are that from about levels 1 through about 14 or 15, you are in mandatory single-player campaign mode, which means that, yes, you technically can join your friends in online play, but only if you have already done X, Y, Z things at every single level. And it is so frustrating to not be able to instantly join your friends in fights, even though the only difference is that they watched a cutscene and you haven't. That is stupid. So there's a lot of stuff about Monster Hunter that I really, really hate, but that does not negate, it does take away from, but it doesn't negate my love of the game as a whole. Monster Hunter World is such a unique take on an online RPG. The ability to fight these massive monsters as a team with your friends and randos, mostly the Japanese, who primarily use bows, and you're like, thank you, the Japanese. Appreciate you.
Good job.
The ability to both join up with randos at will, assuming you're at the right level, and to join up with your friends and just fight these colossal monsters, it's a really fun take on an online game, and I really enjoy it once you actually get to the point where you can actually do that in the game. So, I really can't say that I'm too super charmed by the soundtrack. The graphics are pretty amazing for the monsters. The ability to make different armor sets and weapons is fantastic. The armor and weapon trees are really fun from an RPG perspective of setting your loadouts, making sure all of your items are upgraded. RPG players tend to love that kind of stuff, and Monster Hunter has that in spades. And ultimately, the gameplay. It's very good. I mean, really, there's nothing that goes wrong, I would say, when you're actually fighting a monster, except for user error. I mean, if I miss the monster because I'm slamming down with my hunting horn and it has already turned away and gone to the other side of the map, it's like, well, fuck me. That's just my bad.
That's on me.
And it's still fun, even when you die, even when you wind up getting almost no gold because you died a lot. It's still really fun.
Good. Awesome.
So those would be my top 3 of the year.
With the announcement of the new DLC coming for that game, and that you'll be able to be Geralt of Rivia as a playable character, I'm highly considering jumping in.
I couldn't give fewer flim-flams, we'll say, about Gerald of Riviera. Don't care about him at all. literally not even a little bit. But one of the core complaints of a lot of gamers for Monster Hunter World specifically is that in terms of monsters, they all have elemental types, right?
Right.
There are almost no ice and water type monsters
Which
in
now
Monster
looks
Hunter
like
World.
what this DLC will
which
take
this
on.
new DLC pack appears to be very much themed around ice, which hopefully means more ice and water animals. Not animals, monsters, which is very much wanted. So I love that they are doing this. It seems very much to be a DLC pack that will meet player desires, which kudos to them. If it were more Thunder type monsters, I think people would go to Capcom's headquarters and burn it down.
There you go.
No
There you
more
have
Thunder monsters, please.
Well, my top 3, starting out, I'm actually somewhat torn on this. Oh, wait. No, these need to be of 2018 games. I was trying to... No, crap.
Is this Blue Live degradation?
I'm trying to decide if I can include a game not from this year.
Of course you can. If you played... I mean, Stardew came out last
That's
year.
true.
But
It
we
is
only
our-
played it this year.
That is true. That is true. So I'm going to count this then. I'm going to roll with this. So my number 3 is kind of a hard toss up here in between Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and Guacamelee 2.
Oh, bro.
That's a hard one.
Okay, so my gut reaction is Guac 2.
Which
Because
is-
you get to be a chicken.
Which is honestly where I think I land.
Who doesn't want to be a chicken?
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze was a lot of fun, but I think I had even more fun with Guacamelee 2 and experiencing it. And plus, because I did have the past experience of Guacamelee 2 really did. It's kind of what you're talking with Octopath. It's like they expounded on what was great about it and made that even better. I really don't have many complaints
Exactly.
about Guacamelee
What's
2.
there to complain about?
Donkey
that
Kong,
the
I
chicken
had-
isn't cute enough?
I know. And now you can be Portillo from everything. Or you can be shirtless Arachnid Man. It's great. So, and I think honestly too, just what it is, what the game is, what it stands for, and how well the platforming gets difficult but never overbearing. Which for me, as one who I said in our Discord earlier this week, I was like, honestly, platformers are the most frustrating game type for me of all.
They're not your fave.
But I do
We
love
know
them every
this.
once in a while. And Guacamelee 2 is the going blank on the word. It is the high point of that for me, I guess, from this year. And so I really, really, really enjoyed that game. All of its cultural references and also too, it's one of those that gets you more excited about the Mexican culture as a whole. And I think that's
Which we in Texas, obviously, we need more of that
we
all the
definitely do.
time.
We definitely do. And so that game has just a lot of fun to play. You get a lot of laughs, some chuckles. There's some, and then the boss fights are a lot of fun in it too. And also the one thing about it that I feel like kind of sets it apart from other platformers is how combo heavy the combat is, which can really set up some really fun, incredibly enjoyable fights. And I think that's why that one for me hits in my number 3. And that one is, like I said, from this year. So the one that I was kind of wondering if I should include it, but I'm gonna include it as my number 2, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice.
Ooh, man, I actually forgot that even from my recap of like Fee and stuff.
Yeah.
Hellblade, oh my
Hellblade was
gosh.
outstanding.
What was I thinking?
Knew from when I was when I first heard about Hellblade, and it was about a year from when it came out to when I was able to play it. And I knew that I was gonna enjoy the game. It looked right up my alley with the heavy Norse influences and not influences, just setting. And I was excited for it. I knew that it's what its subject matter was going to be more, not necessarily this like rough and tumble action adventure story, but more of Senua's dealing with her mental illness.
Yeah.
The way the game explored that topic, told Senua's story, but then also still had engaging combat and engaging small, but yet still engaging environmental puzzles that you had to solve through, and stellar story, I think sets Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice apart as a truly outstanding game.
I mean, I still think of the puzzle of Valravn.
I
feel like the entire
Valravn
Valravn section was amazing. I really enjoyed that.
I enjoyed
one.
Suter when you're or Suter, however you say it. Cert. Thank you. I enjoyed that section because where it's like you had to race through the rings of fire and all that sort of stuff. I thought that was a really, really well done. But then Valravn was just great.
Like illusory puzzles and things that are real or maybe aren't real. I love that kind of
was so
stuff.
good.
And it was just
Very well
And the
executed.
execution was very interesting. I love that they approached not even just Val Robin's levels, but all of the other levels as well. They seem to come at them from these really unique tries. And I love that about Hellblade.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the one where you're in total darkness and you have to rely heavily on audio and on sound to find
It's
your way
when you're
around.
crap. I can't remember
It's
the
when
name.
you're doing
It's
one
with
of the
beast.
Odin's-
It's the beast. Oh no! Oh, the trials.
Yeah, it's Odin's Trials, right? Or whatever they call it,
yeah.
where you're trying to get your fancy sword.
Yeah, and it's only sound.
Yeah.
You get Grimir. Yeah, when
Grimir, I'm sorry I'm butchering it so
That's
bad.
fine. When you're trying to
everybody.
be able to get Grimir, and you're going through and you're completing these 7 trials, I believe, and the one, where it's complete darkness and you solely have to rely on audio cues. It was ridiculous. It was
Fantastic.
great.
Amazing.
So hard. It was hard, but it was so good.
Yeah.
So that game was outstanding, and you should definitely give that one a play. It's from Ninja Theory. Tamim Entionades is the director of that one. And so we have reviews of all these things. I will say that. Let's see. So like Hellblade was back on, whoops, I got way too far back on all this stuff. As I go through the year here.
Episode 1.
Hellblade was episode 132, so you can go back and listen to that. Guacamelee 2 was episode 135. What were your games again? Octopath?
Octopath. It would have been back in,
It was-
July?
Where is it? Oh, Monster Hunter World. We talked about that one with Cody Peck. That was episode
Oh,
103.
yeah. And I still played the game with good old Cody.
Sorry, thought I just saw this, and now it's eluding my gaze.
Thanks for nothing.
sorry.
Jerrett.
I'm sorry.
Oh, another game that I played this year that we did talk about that I
There it
somehow
is.
forgot
125
about.
is Octopath Traveler.
125.
And then Stardew Valley was obviously like 146.
Rhyme. Oh,
Oh,
man,
yeah,
I
Rhyme.
forgot about Rhyme.
147 for Stardew.
Ooh. Man. I might have to rethink my listings. Rhyme was really good.
It was a great one.
Yeah.
Your review of it
Oh
was
my gosh.
outstanding.
Crying. So much crying. Like, it'd be like crying just talking about it. Yeah. Rhyme is awesome. And I would recommend it to anyone. Maybe not Fender, but other people.
Yeah, he doesn't have thumbs. It'd be hard. But my number one, if you hadn't guessed, is God of War. I've sung its praises enough. I don't really feel like I need to go into that one enough any more than I already have, but just a truly outstanding experience of a game. Everything from the direction by Corey Barlog down to the music, the art direction, everything was just
Christopher
outstanding.
Judge.
Christopher Judge as Kratos, all of it was just great. And if you're looking for a highly emotional journey, a truly riveting story, and outstanding combat, look no further than God of War. And so that's all I'm going to say about that, since I've talked about it a lot. So.
Wanted to make another quick note here about my top 3 games of the year. Obviously, I'm missing Assassin's Creed Odyssey and or Red Dead Redemption 2. They're not in my top 3 just because I haven't finished them yet. So that's the only reason they're not in my top 3. Just didn't want any confusion. Back to the show.
And there we have it, everyone. I feel like that's our year in review. Sorry, this is a little bit longer of an episode, but hey,
yeah, we always
2018
say
was a
they're
big
going to
year.
be short, and then
We always say that before we start, and then we're like, here we sit an hour and a half later.
whoops.
But here we go. There was a lot of fun stuff and great stuff that came out in 2018. Looking forward to an outstanding 2019. Some very exciting things, I think, on the horizon coming up for there. But we'll obviously talk about that in our next episode, which is our most anticipated games for 2019. But that won't be until January 8th episode because, like I said again, we're taking a holiday break to rest, recharge, and really hit the new year fresh.
we deserve it.
We do deserve it. We've done a great job this year.
We have.
Speaking of doing a great job, can't close out this year without talking about, again, and thanking everyone for the outstanding and resounding success of our very first Extra Life.
I mean, really,
charity
like
stream.
all of that thank you goes out to our followers and
Our followers
everyone,
and
who,
everyone who
donated,
donated, but not all-
astounding.
But not only them, but also for our guests that we had on, Chess and his wife playing the Spider-Man
Kirok.
board game, Kirok and Fuchsia, all of whom did an
Absolutely.
outstanding job on their time slots for us. It was a great day. Again, for everyone who wasn't or doesn't know, we set a goal of $1,000. Honestly, I think we never said it out loud publicly, but in both of our minds, we were thinking it'd be cool if we hit 500.
Yeah.
Well, we raised $1,085. So we
Yeah.
surpassed our goal which was crazy for I feel like for our
I
first year
mean,
of
we
doing
definitely weren't expecting it, and we could not have done it without the people who partnered with us, and of course, everyone who watched and donated to the stream.
it. Yes, it was an incredibly fun day. It was a great time.
And we'll probably do it again.
Oh, absolutely.
We loved it so much. Of
I'll do
course,
it
we're
again
going
for
to do
sure.
it again.
So, thank you again to everyone who took part in Next Life 2018. But before we go, as is usual and as is our tradition, we have to do our soundtrack spotlight. And I feel like it's time to revisit one that we both talked about, loving absolutely with all of our hearts, hit both of our lists. We're going to feature music again from Octopath Traveler.
Woo! Octopath. Everything about Octopath is wonderful.
Should we do the main theme or should we do one of the character themes?
So when we did our most recent soundtrack episode, I believe I featured music from Cyrus's theme.
Yes, you did.
So we can't do Cyrus, but we can do any of the other amazing characters.
Let's do Hanit's theme then.
Hanit's theme.
Hanit's theme.
Or Hanit, I don't know.
Because that's the character I chose when I played through the demo.
Indeed.
It's based on the word.
Good enough.
I've been talking for a while now.
Hanit is also one of my personal favorites in my party. If you give her the subcategory of apothecary, she becomes virtually unkillable because she has so much health, and because of her her passive abilities. She has one that is called like passive strike, where at the end of the turn you have a probability of some odd percentage of getting an extra hit in just for fun, along with her passive ability of second strike, which basically gives you the exact same thing. Oh yeah, one of them gives you one extra turn at the end of the turn. The other one, second strike, gives you the probability of getting in 2 hits for the price of 1, basically. She does like quadruple damage than what you think she's going to, and you almost can't kill her. Hanit. Love her to pieces.
So now, enjoy Hanit's theme as we close out this episode. Hanit's theme was composed by the composer of the Octopath Traveler soundtrack, Yasunori Nishiki. And so this is Hanit's theme after the close of the episode, which is now. Thank you, everyone, for listening for this episode of our Year in Review. And like I said, a new episode of Team Chat Podcast will resume back on January 8th, 2019. We'll see you in the new year. Everyone, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy spending time with everyone. Play some great games.
Play some great games. New or old. Just play games. Any of them.
Anything you choose. We'll see you in the new year, everyone. Thanks for listening. Stick around for the song.